This Nerd Bite contains potential spoilers for Loki and the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and you can find more details in the description. Are you
I do
ready
apologize.
to be excited?
Yeah, give it
All
a
right,
crack.
so here's what I want to wrap up with.
Okay.
Watch you not care about this at all. So this is the final topic before we close things out with this episode. But my little brain wheels have been turning and twisting. The hamster has not been sleeping in my brain recently. So I'm tired in case you guys can't tell. So I was thinking on this idea of the apocalypses and that being sort of the navigational way around cluing the TVA in on where they're at, right? Which is why they ended up on Lamentis. It seems like you were saying from the other previews we've seen, the other variant Loki, the vote Loki, that seems like another dystopian future that's probably near an apocalypse as well. So I started thinking, like, what are some other apocalyptic events that we know either have previously taken place in the MCU or we know will take place or we heard of? And one in particular really jumped out to me that we know took place, and it's related to a specific character that I know you've mentioned wanting before. And I think it would be very cool because of we know of how it took place. So I'm not going to beat around the bush anymore.
Okay.
When Xandar was destroyed, we know Thanos was there. We know the Nova Corps was there. We know that that would tie directly into the creation of Nova. Is that crazy? Could we see that
No,
in this show?
we could. We probably could. Each show has a new character or old character that they're introducing. Every show that we've seen so far. Who's going to be the new character in this show?
I think it could be. I think we could see the creation of Nova possibly,
Bro.
in this show. Honestly, how likely is that? Because we know that they're going to be hiding in apocalypses, and I don't know. I feel like that's one that a lot of people are still really curious about. And then it would also be interesting because because of how Xandar was destroyed, that Thanos would be there. And there's a history with Loki
He'd
and
be
Thanos.
he'd be upset after watching him kill him, essentially. So
How
yeah.
cool would it be I just thought about this too. How cool would it be to see Loki take revenge on Thanos somehow,
Yeah.
So I don't know. If any apocalypse event happens, that's the one I'm wishing we get to see. But I don't know. Can you think of any other apocalyptic things that we know about in the MCU that you might want to explore or you might want to see from a different perspective?
No, not really. I mean, no, because of the like when we first talked about like what we thought for like phase 4 and who the overarching bad guy was going to be, like I thought Galactus, but they haven't really set up any groundwork for that, and it would be weird for them to just be like,
oh dude,
yeah,
I just thought of one for Galactus that we've actually seen
what?
in Guardians of the Galaxy. Bro, I'm sorry, I'm getting excited about this now. I'm glad, first of all, I'm glad that you liked my Xandar observation because I felt very accomplished when I thought of that. But how cool would it be to see this tie into Eternals? And you remember when in Guardians of the Galaxy they were getting the Power Stone taken out of the orb from the Collector, and we see that flash of one of the Celestials destroying a planet.
Yep.
Maybe it could tie into some sort of Galactus thing that way. Maybe one of the apocalyptic events has something to do. I mean, Galactus is submerged in apocalyptic events. I'd be very surprised if he exists in the timeline as we know it, that the
Mhm.
TVA wouldn't be fully aware of Galactus and
For sure.
apocalyptic events that he's caused.
That's what I was thinking when they were talking about apocalyptic events. That's where my mind went to first. But then I was like, he's too big of a character to just be like, here's Galactus, and then never talk about him again.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's that'd be interesting. And then that would open up many avenues for like Silver Surfer and Fantastic Four, and
Yeah.
um it would also create issues in conflicts for the Guardians and Cap- Captain Marvel. But
You literally can't say that name without
no,
gagging.
it's like it's her in the MCU and it's her in the comics that she just grinds my gears. She's literally the worst. I don't know. I just give us a Miss Marvel without the Captain Marvel and I'll be perfectly fine. She's the Superman of this universe, and I just can't deal. So
OP and
she's
OB.
OP, overbearing, and
Overbearing.
and just literally the worst. So yeah, I don't know. Galactus would be pretty cool, but as I said, there's only 3 episodes left, so that would be pretty hard for them to bring him as such a big character in here. So maybe something along the lines of like a end credit scene that would lead us to believe of where this kind of would leave off moving forward. The
I'm
other
wondering how
thing,
much of this, like even the Lamentis destruction,
yeah,
is going to tie into what this phase 4 is going to lead up to for the ultimate big destruction, or
yeah,
ultimate big bad for the conclusion of this phase.
yeah. The other thing that, and this is where I'll end off with, in Endgame, or in Infinity War, where Thor was making Stormbreaker, he was on, that was a star that he was on, correct?
Nidavellir, yeah.
That did how did they let us know like what happened to that star and why it was all like jacked up?
That's a good question. I think that is technically an extinction level event.
So
So
with that,
that's always been a dying star. Nidavellir it's like the I think in terms of the 9 realms, that's the realm of the dwarves. And
mhm,
the dwarves are like the steel masons. They build the god weapons that
yep,
are used in Asgard and abroad in
mhm.
all the realms. Um, the star has been dying out, but obviously it still has some juice because they crank it back up.
But he was the only one left,
Right.
and so that could be a Galactus type of event. We're seeing
Mm-hmm.
Galactus remnants even in the last phase. So that's where I'll leave it. I don't know.
We came up with more, like, honestly, like, I think pretty plausible apocalyptic events that could be explored in this show than I thought we would. When I first thought of Xandar, I was like, this is really the only one I could think, other than like Ragnarok, that I think is pretty obvious that they would want to tie into Loki. But yeah, these are all great choices. We got Xandar, Ragnarok, whatever that planet was in uh, Guardians of the Galaxy 1 that we saw get destroyed by the Celestial.
Mhm.
Um, there's tons of extinction level events we know from Earth history that they could explore. And yeah, possibly Nidavellir, which also
Possibly
ties clearly into Loki.
locally. That's how,
Loki.
that's how the um the logo looks locally.
Lowly.
That's gonna be the font that I use for Nerd Institute locally. Yeah. Well, again, we appreciate you guys for listening all the way through. As always, definitely like and subscribe to our podcast wherever you're listening to our podcast, because we are found wherever podcasts can be found. And definitely follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We are gearing this season to be everything that you guys want to know and listen to. So definitely send us your questions. We appreciate everyone that sent in questions for this episode. You can email us at anerd33@gmail.com, or you can DM us and let us know your thoughts. Do you agree with us? Do you like this episode? Let us know in the comments, as well as on our posts on our Instagram. But as always, we really appreciate you guys and we love all of your faces. But until next time, later, nerds.